السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Before we start anything, because we care, we need to mention a precautions. In a case of emergency, لا سمح الله, there are two exits next to the screen, on the right and on the left, to the gate directly of the hotel. And other four exits are the same doors that we get in, that we entered. So thank you. The other thing, we want to take a look at the journey of our partnership that started in 2015. Please take a look at this video. In 2015, we started as a supplier award. Sorry for calling you only suppliers. The next event in 2016 was the Partner Excellence Award. And now, with the challenges happening in the economy and the political challenges happening in the region, and the effect happen on all sectors, we are calling this event the Transforming Together event. The story of Nahdi started at 1986 with the two branches founded by Sheikh Abdullah Nahdi. These two branches now becomes the biggest in the MENA region, Middle East and North Africa, serving more than 86 million guests in over 150 cities around the kingdom. We are 5 minutes away from 80% of the population. 3,000 pharmacists are serving them. And all of this happened because of your support. And the most important information in this, that 70% of our revenues comes from our loyal customers. It's actually your loyal customers. Because again, it would never happen without your support. So thank you. A big part of the vision of the country is supporting and empowering women. And our key speaker is a woman. She's living in Paris, originally from Germany. She's an expert in transformation and client experience. She built her experience working to the leader international identities around the world, taking the top managerial positions with international companies like L'Oréal and other leading perfume industries companies. Now she started her own business. She's a public speaker. She's a consultant for international companies in a situation of change. And she is happy that in Arabic we have the letter Kha to pronounce her name properly. Please welcome Professor Michaela.
Salamu alaikum. أنا سعيدة بوجودي معكم اليوم. I feel extremely grateful for being here today and talk to you and share with you my vision about transforming, successful transformation in times of change. And I also feel extremely grateful to the whole NADI team that invited me to come and speak to you today, that also trusts my words, and they actually managed to bring me over and get my visa in only 1 day. Fantastic. Shukran. When you look at this image, what comes into your mind? What do you see there? What do you see? Mm-hmm. You don't see the end. What else do you see? What comes into your mind? It's a black spot. It's something that is turning, something that is moving, right? It could be a wave. It could be a hole. It's actually an eye. It's the eye of a storm right above our earth. It could be Yolanda, Patricia, Katerina. They all have names. The most severe storm that actually hit our world in this century was Henry. Henry was a very particular storm because it was a merger of 4 different storms into a superstorm. And it hit the east coast of the United States in the 1990s. Cities and areas that were the most devastated were the ones where people did not collaborate with each other, where they did not want to listen to governments' warnings, where they said, I can do it on my own. Why am I talking to you about that? Definitely not because it's a weather forecast for the coming days. Hopefully not. No. I talk to you about this because our current world economy is in a very similar situation, facing 4 major, let's call them turbulences. And when I'm calling something a turbulence, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative impact, because turbulences can also be opportunities. Opportunities for transformation, opportunities for change, opportunities if you seize them, if you engage with them in a positive mindset. So the attitude makes the whole difference if turbulences are coming up. So where do those 4 major turbulences actually come from? The first one comes from changing governments. Governments worldwide are making different legislations, are changing their regulations faster than ever before in the world. I live in France now for the past 25 years. We have a fairly young government, and Emmanuel Macron, he wants to reform the country. He wants to change the country because in France we have a very high unemployment rate. We have huge external debts coming from the public sector. So he wants to make the country a lot more efficient. But not everybody seems to agree. People put their yellow jackets on, go onto the street, some of them even destroying commercial areas in Paris. Who knows what that's good for? Your kingdom is facing major changes, is changing regulations in a very positive way, opening up the country, liberating the country, giving women a lot more rights, so making major changes in your society. To even such an extent that people who left the country are now coming back again. Talented people, highly skilled people who say, I want to be part of this new economic boom, helping the country to open up. The second major turbulence comes from economies. Economies that are changing in the world. Business models that are modified. Countries that used to focus a lot on export and that now realize actually we have to consume a lot more locally in our countries. Countries that realize we have gotten very dependent on several mineral resources that are not available endlessly. So we need to diversify our exports. Let me give you an example. China. During the last 30 years, China used to be extremely dependent on exports of steel. Basically, the country operated China makes, the world takes. Now, last year, you probably remember when Trump imposed to the country huge import tariffs for bringing steel into the United States, making steel imports extremely expensive. What happened? Drastic drops of steel exports for China. So China had to modify its business model, had to do something. And what did the government do? In a very quick period of time, they reacted and said, we need to stimulate our local consumption. What did they do? First of all, they incited lots of international brands to bring their brands over to the country to be available online and offline. They also stimulated local consumption, young brands, Chinese brands, which would have never have a chance to grow without government help, and they brought them to bigger success. They also improved all the facilities for e-commerce, for m-commerce, so mobile commerce, and home delivery. And of course, they diversified the whole economy in terms of export. Your own country here in Saudi Arabia is in a similar situation in a sense that it's very dependent on oil. And just look at the graphics from the World Bank showing the drastic drop of oil prices since 2015 until today, almost divided by 2. This encouraged the government to take measurements in order to integrate the new 2030 vision plan, preparing the country for a new avenue, for a new good future, less dependent on only oil, diversifying the economy. Today, we know that countries that have a strongly diversified economy, like Chile, are the most stable countries in the world. Chile is the richest and also the most stable country in South America. Imagine what they do. They export over 2,800 distinct products to 120 different countries. Amazing. The third turbulence comes from the customers themselves. I guess many of you are facing also customers every day through your stores, through retail. You have probably observed that the customer today is not anymore buying in the same way than 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What stimulated consumption? Digitalization. Digitalization modified the way people are now buying products, making purchasing decisions. Some latest data from the World Digital Report 2019. Over 60% of the world population today has access to internet. Over 70% of the world population has access to mobile phones. And in the region here, it's over 99%. One of the biggest penetration rates when it comes to social media as well. 45% worldwide, way higher here in the region. Because people use a lot Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And the growth rates are growing for digitalization plus 10%. So this massive digitalization is changing the ways people, consumers, are deciding what and when they want to buy. customers are getting impatient. They want products now, straight away. They don't want to wait anymore. They're getting volatile. They are jumping from one brand to another because they can compare. They are also getting powerful. We have data that show how people actually believe that they know more than sales associates who are actually in the stores about their own brands. And we also know that the customers today are getting extremely spoiled. Spoiled in a sense that no choice can be big enough for them. They want it all. And they are getting omni-channel shoppers. Omni-channel in a sense that they don't want to have access to brands only through the traditional brick-and-mortar stores, but they also want to have access online, mobile, e-commerce, so many different sources. That's what we call omni-channel, to make access to brands absolutely seamless. So that's important for you, for every brand. You need to be omni-channel. But it doesn't mean that the store is dead. Just in the opposite. The store is getting a new role, because in order to differentiate what is happening online and in the store, you need to engage the customer a lot more through client experience. Show them excitement. Show them that you can bring amazing advice to the products that you're offering. So products alone is not enough anymore. And the fourth major change comes from changing retail landscapes. Let me give you an example. The borders between different retail channels are getting much more blurred today. Let's say 20 years ago, when you stepped into a pharmacy, that's the retail channel you all know by heart, could you find there? Medication. Today, when you go into a pharmacy, what can you find there? Just last night, I went to the flagship store of Nadi, and I was really blown away by the quantity of different product segments I could find there. Baby products, toothpaste, skincare, fragrances, spa products. Basically today, what pharmacies are doing, other retailers are doing as well, they try to keep their customers as loyal as possible in order not to lose them to other competing retail channels, supermarkets, hypermarkets, specialty stores, drugstores, department stores. Keep them in the pharmacies. So with all of those changes happening in the world, I wanted to better understand what needs to be done in order to transform a country and a business in a much more successful way. I did research for the past 10 years, trying to figure out which are the success tools to transform successfully. And one of the major findings was that all stakeholders that are involved in a transformation process, and when I talk about stakeholders, it's you, it's suppliers, it's also board members, it's employees, it's agencies, people who are contributing to the whole ecosystem, they need to be closely related with each other. They need to know where to go, they need to know where the goal is, and move into that direction. In addition to closely relationships, I figured out that there are actually 5 emotional factors that are relevant in order to successfully transform a company, a brand, or a country. And these 5 emotional factors are trust, pride, identification, recognition, and passion. And it is not a coincidence that I placed those 5 emotions in Olympic circles. Because I think there's a lot in common between successful transformation and high-level sports. In both, you need to be prepared, best prepared. You need to be coached. You need to be managed. You need to be willing to progress. You need to be an expert. You need to be a team player. You cannot win if you just play alone. And you need to be passionate for what you're doing. So what I'm proposing you to do now is I'm traveling you now through those 5 emotional factors and show you how each of them contributes positively to a better transformation. Let's start with trust. A trust is actually mission critical for all stakeholders that are involved in a transformation process. A company can gain trust through high quality standards they're implementing, because quality increases loyalty. And just yesterday, I learned that Nadi has 80% of loyal customers in their stores. This means that the perception of the clients for quality provided by Nadi through the brands and also through the stores and the whole retail environment is actually excellent. Otherwise, they would not come back. Quality is one aspect. The second is safety. Safety. Companies can only gain trust if they provide safety to their employees, safety to everybody who's involved in the ecosystem, to their passengers on board, to their clients. Otherwise, they would not come back anymore. Just one incident. Look at Boeing, what happened? And they say no. And you are to ground zero. The third aspect that increases trust is efficiency. Efficiency, especially because people don't want to lose time anymore. We've seen in the customer behavior, they want it now. They want quick products. They are impatient. So that's why it's becoming so important to reduce all the operating processes and make them as efficient as possible. Later on, you will see the projects that are ongoing for Nadi, and you will see that they are working a lot on integrating all vertical businesses now throughout the entire value chain in order to be able to fulfill the promise, delivery to every household of products that are ordered online in no more than 2 hours. And then trust through choice. If we are proposing customers a large choice in our stores, they feel, I can trust them. I find what I'm looking for. Actually, just before I came here, I was looking for a special palm tree in my office. And I knew I would not find it in a generic store. So I went to, I don't know if you are familiar with Paris or the French store environment, to Truffaut. Truffaut is a specialty store for plants, having a huge assortment of all different kind of plants. So I found my palm tree there because I trusted in the choice they're offering. And what they did, to increase their choice, they actually implemented an online platform, which allowed them to multiply their offer by 5. So now you can find at Truffaut basically plants from all across the world because you don't have any more limits in your stores. You are endlessly free how many products you're going to provide. And I've heard that Nadi also has the project of expanding the online platform and the offer for exactly that reason, in order to be able to provide medical services from wherever they come in the world. To sum up, trust is related to quality, to safety, to efficiency, and to choice. Let's now move to the second criteria, which is actually important in order to gain successful transformation processes. May I ask you one question? Who among you is, just by raising your hand, really passionate about what you're doing? Just raise your hand. Who is really passionate about what you're doing? Okay, a few hands are going up. May I ask you first, what makes you passionate every day to go to Nadi and lead the company? Can we have the microphone on, please? So it's working with people like in this room, the whole community, collaboration. The microphone is coming, but it's said. Then I take that one. Thank you. May I come over to this table? I think I've seen also a hand. Yes.
So I'm passionate. I work with Jimjum Pharma in the nutraceutical line. So we're producing vitamins and supplements, manufactured in Saudi Arabia. So I'm passionate in creating the healthy trends and giving high quality products to people. So working with a very good team and seeing the change every day.
Thank you very much. So the quality and also implementing the changes, maybe a third testimony. Can I move the microphone to you? Thank you.
Why passionate was the question?
What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate because I get to lead others to do the right thing for the consumer, the right thing for the patient. We do make people feel better with what we offer.
Thank you. You know why passion is so important in a transformation process? Because passion brings us positive mindset, brings us actually the energy that we need in order to also take situations which make us a little bit unstable. Passion is actually a little bit like fire. You know, for the opening of the Olympic Games, we have the torch. And the torch is carried by many, many people, passed on, and should never go out. And the passing over to fire, from one person to another, is only possible under one condition: if we communicate. If we communicate among each other, and especially if we share the goals, why we are transforming, what is our vision, where do we want to get? Communication needs to be in a transparent way, in a clear way, in a continuous way. That's why conventions like today are so important, because they are great platforms in order to share strategic messages with everybody. You will learn after my speech a lot more about those projects that Nadi is actually looking ahead in the coming years and months and probably also days. And you will see that Nadi, for instance, is planning to open in 2 weeks' time only the Nadi clinics. Is also venturing into other territories, opening up pharmacies in Dubai. So all these are very ambitious projects and important for you to know what they are planning to do so that you can collaborate with them on the same boat. So passion is related to communication and can be passed on through communication if it's clear, if it's consistent, and if it's continuous. The third element for successful transformation is identification. Identification related to the values. Everybody who is involved in a transformation process can only contribute in a positive way if everybody is following the same human and also the same corporate values. Just look at some companies that are here for over 100 years, that are extremely successful. What have they done? They have all clearly defined their corporate values. We all know what they stand for: Mercedes, Porsche, Cartier, Chanel, Rolex. We know their values because they have not only defined them, they have also translated and transmitted them within their company and also to close stakeholders related to those companies. Very often, companies that also have very strong values are also great places to work at. You probably know that there is a database. Today, we have around 1,000 different companies that belong to the Great Places to Work database. And scientists analyzed this database and found a direct correlation between financial performance and the degree to which employees actually identify with the values of those companies. When I looked at the website of Nadi, I also saw that the company is putting a lot of importance in its values, always striving to make a difference in the life of every guest they serve. And yesterday, when I went to the office, I could also see that there were the values even projected onto the wall, clearly showing we know who we are, we know whom we incorporate, what our heart is, whom we want to be for our partners, for our clients, for our employees. Another correlation that I figured out in my research was the correlation between a strong private label penetration and employee identification. In other words, a retailer that has a higher amount of private label products in their portfolio is more able to keep their employees loyal to their company. And even when I interviewed hundreds of people who are working and who work together with private label brands in retailers, they kept telling me, it's like my baby. I'm the mom, I'm the dad of this product, of this brand. I'm bringing it up to success. Very emotional attachment. Let me give you an example. Sephora. Sephora, you all know, it's one of the leading cosmetics retailers worldwide, and has been actually the first or one of the first ones to introduce a private label department in France. They even created their own company, S+, producing those private label products in all different segments. Now, what they did was actually interesting because they not only benefited from growth rates, so the business was growing, the image of the retailer was growing, the employees were stronger attached to the retailer, and they were gaining huge traffic from a younger customer group through more attractive prices. And what was absolutely unexpected, that also suppliers and the brands, the more traditional brands, the national brands, were actually growing as well. For what reason? They were all scared when Sephora said, we want to introduce our private label products. But in the end, they grew with them. They grew because private labels were very often complementary products, complementary sales, and the traffic was actually growing hugely while the retailer had introduced the new private label department. But they didn't do it alone. They did it with the help of big brands, smaller brands, mid-sized brands, suppliers, laboratories, agencies, who were all adding their expertise in order to make this brand and department as successful as possible, as innovative as possible. And the benefits were actually win-win. It was not just one was giving and that was it. What came out was the brands were actually optimizing their production sites, We're actually reducing their production costs thanks to economies of scale. We're actually optimizing their warehousing systems, and they were all growing the business together because they were creating a second revenue stream for them. So to sum up, identification is related to strong corporate values, to sharing values, to also giving a company a great place to work, and by creating a private label department, but not on its own, but together with a lot of partners. And I've also heard that Nadi is venturing into the private label segment, is growing that business as well. And they need partners to also bring it to a big success. The fourth criteria for successful transformation is pride. Pride, I'm not talking about arrogance, but I'm talking about pride through victory, through achievement, through success. Many years ago, I've actually been working for L'Oreal. This was my first employer. And I still remember how proud employees and also suppliers were who were working at L'Oreal to contribute to the #1 cosmetics company in the world, to build this success story all together. Advertising agencies, suppliers, companies who were in merchandising, in design, laboratories, researchers, platforms from everywhere. They wanted to build the success story together. And not by any coincidence, L'Oreal is among the top 10 great places to work in Europe. Pride also comes from a pioneering spirit, from innovation. Let me give you an example which always makes me think about pride of people, Apple. Who among you has already stepped into an Apple store? Just show me by raising your hands who's already been in an Apple store. Quite some hands up. People who are working at Apple, they are proud for what they have actually built together in the last 40 years. Driven by the charismatic spirit of their leader, Steve Jobs. And even when Steve Jobs died, his saga continued. His success model continued. And even today, all of his vision, ambition, is integrated in all the products that the company is building today, even though he is not there anymore. This shows how pride is actually an important element for stabilizing any company, for making a transformation process solid. We all love to be somehow #1. Who are the winners in here? Can I see some hands up? Who has already won something or be #1 in an award that you have been winning? Can I see some hands? Who has already won something? You won something? What did you win?
I have my mic.
Oh, yes,
Actually,
sure.
it's being a presenter in a radio channel and having rated the program #1 on the youth category and #1 on the channel itself was something I feel that I'm appreciated by the statistics. No, it's not a personal opinion. It's what people are really have been impacted by the program and the changes happening. So it's undescribable feelings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody else who wants to share an achievement, maybe a prize you have been winning? No prizes? I can't believe that. Even sports people. I guess some of you are in sports, and you have probably all somewhere in your life been up on a podium. Who has achieved something you would like to share? No, don't be shy. Then I share mine. I'm actually an acrobatic gymnastics. So I was the German champion in acrobatic gymnastics, and I could not have achieved that on my own. I always did it with coaches together, being encouraged, and then of course you feel extremely good when you achieve something. And for exactly that reason, getting a medal, getting a trophy, we need to have awards in companies. Because if we don't have winners, we don't have pride. And we all need the pride. Actually, when I've seen on Nadi's website, that's why I was surprised the hands were not all up, because Nadi has been winning a lot of awards in your past. And when I went to Ibrahim's office yesterday, I could see that there were so many trophies for even the world best father that he was winning. And it shows that we have proud and we can be proud, and we shouldn't say we don't win something. It's important, and I think later on we also have some awards to share with everybody. So pride is related to innovation, is related to a pioneering spirit, is related to ambition, and also victory. And now let me come to the last and the fifth aspect that facilitates the transformation process, which is recognition. We all need, be it retailers or brands, to get a recognition from our clients. They are the first who are frontline when the client says, thank you. And the clients today, they say thank you when you go beyond the product, when you combine the product together with a service. Again, I take Apple as an example because it's such a phenomenal retail concept, because they moved actually from a pure computer digital provider to a training store where their brand ambassadors, where their sales associates are training people on how to use digital devices. And all of that is happening at the Genius Bar. The Genius Bar is the place where sales associates and clients are engaging with each other, where they are actually transmitting their knowledge, their expertise, and the clients say, thank you. That's client experience. Let me give you another example. Maybe you know the brand Yoma. Anybody knows the brand Yoma? It actually used to be a small startup brand in skincare and is today the #1 skincare for personalized skincare, because every product they are selling is tailor-made. And in order to generate client experience today, we need personalization. What have they done? I used to work for Marionnaud, also a big perfumery chain with 1,400 different stores and 14 different countries in Europe. And this brand became an exclusive brand in the store. Interesting was that they had operated through a diagnostic system. And their diagnostic tool, the Yoma Link, was based on the technology that NASA is actually using to explore the planet Mars. So on the skin, you could see all the different details, and the customer or the clients would say, oh, that's actually the product I need. Oh, that's happening on my skin. And out of the diagnostics, they got 40,000 different formulations, all tailor-made to what the clients needed. And that's client experience. This is absolutely what the customer expects today. Not too much standardization, but really the feeling it's just for me. Companies get also respect and recognition when they do good to our planet, when they are involved in sustainability. What you see here is a list of the top 5 companies that have been selected by the Global 100 Report 2019 as the most sustainable products and companies in the world. And you can see many of them come from Nordic companies, like from Sweden, from Finland, from Norway. You also have France. And the Global 100 report is actually analyzing which are the companies that generate the highest revenue based on products that are sustainable, that are good for the environment, where they also use a lot of profit coming from, actually where they benefit from the reduction of carbon and waste. And they also look into the number of women in leadership positions. The number 2 company is from France, one of the biggest luxury players. So why, for instance, are they selected as the number 1 or one of the biggest sustainable companies? Well, 40% of the products that they are producing come from certified sustainable sources. And 60% of the people who are working in top management positions are women. Another example, IKEA, the Swedish leading retail chain for furnitures. They are strongly involved in humanitarian aid. You might have heard that in the region they invest a lot of money from their revenues in helping build schools, in giving money for playgrounds, or giving people access to drinking waters, especially in regions that are at war. So they do a lot of positive things for our planet, for regions that are suffering because they have been struggling by war. And of course, the whole medical support, where Nadi is strongly involved, trying to improve, to tackle major health issues such as breast cancer, such as diabetes, which is a huge problem in the whole region of Middle East. And also trying to make sure that all the medical services are delivered to every household as fast as possible, making medication available to all. So recognition is also an important base for transformation, coming from client experience, from personalization, from sustainability, from humanitarian aid, and also for medical services. So now looking at the economy of Saudi Arabia, I think it's important to diversify. That's one of the urgent needs, to diversify from this huge dependence on oil and move into other areas. And I think Nadi is a wonderful example of what the company is actually doing in order to diversify the economy in the field of medical services, with all the aid that they are implementing for lots of groups in the civilization, not only with pharmacies, but now also with clinics, making it accessible as close as possible. Now, they have a lot of projects that are ahead, big ones. But they can't do it all alone. I feel from what I've seen with Nadi now, they're ready, they have strong values, they have strong goals, they are very ambitious, they know where to go. But they need partners. They need partners who are willing to grow together with them, who are actually willing to help with each other's expertise, who are actually willing to give each other their hands to the company. May I just invite you now to all stand up and give each other the biggest sign of partnership, which is giving each other our hands and holding the hands tight together. Keep your hands together. This is wonderful. This is partnership. Because in that sense, you also show that you trust Nadi, that you are proud in what you have all achieved together, in showing that you actually identify with each other's values, in showing that you respect each other, and that you are passionate for what you're doing. Thank you for this beautiful gesture. So if you hold hands like this, and if you give your expertise to all the ambitious goals ahead, I'm sure that not only Nadi, but the entire nation and the whole region is actually going to face a very successful and a very prosperous future. You're going to attract a lot of highly skilled, good people to the region, to your countries, to your companies, and those people whom you need in order to build something bigger and successfully. So in this sense, I wish all of you the power, the energy, the dynamism, and good luck in transforming successfully together. Shukran.
A great speech, great values that reflected directly to our new key project. Please give a big hand of applause for Professor Michaela. Thank you. I'm connecting all of these values and factors to our story in Al-Nahdi. We have the pride of innovation. Everyone heard about the free fall of the biggest retailers in the world. On the other hand, the cruise climb of online platforms, Amazon as an example. In Al-Nahdi, we're not waiting for the market to change us. We are leading the change in the market, having one of the advisory boards from the next Amazon. Today, take a look at the major change of the omni-channel and the e-commerce system happening in Al-Nahdi. Enjoy. And from the other side, dealing with cosmetics, products, and medicine, pharmaceutical products, we need a quality to keep gaining your trust, as Ms. Michaela, Professor Michaela said. And here, what we are leading the market in our smart logistics and supply chain. Take a look at it. And having the recognition, supporting the humanity, and aligning with the vision of the kingdom and 2030 vision, today we are supporting the local content, signing with the best quality and best provider, having the international standards. Enjoy watching our new deals with our major local, international providers. The first key project reflect our passion in Al-Nahdi. We won't just keep the title of the biggest Middle East and North Africa pharmaceutical chain and staying in the kingdom. Enjoy watching our new step, our new expansion to United Arab Emirates, starting with 5 branches between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. In having the identification of our values, everyone knows about the high demand happening on the hospitals in the kingdom. Millions of cases visiting the emergency units, while 70% of them are not emergency cases. And we are not waiting to a request to move. We are always proactive, not reactive. And this is our new project, Care Clinic. Yes, we have the pride, we have the recognition, and we are so passionate to the point that we changed the name. It's not only a corporate social responsibility, it's sustainability. We don't need just an event or an initiative to show that we are caring. We have to keep it sustained. This is the most emotional video. When you feel as a Nahdi member that you have a part in achieving this goal, the upcoming goal, and it haven't been able to happen without your support. Watch and enjoy the passion.
قررت النهدي إنه هي توسع استراتيجيتها للاستدامة المجتمعية وتركز على 3 محاور: محور الصحة، محور الحياة، ومحور الأجيال.
أمس، اليوم، بكرة نضيف نبضة صحة، نبضة حياة، نبضة للأجيال. هذه كلها منظومة الاستدامة نسميها.
قصص من حقيقية لأشخاص ضيوفنا في النهدي. فصيدلي محمد قال لنا ممكن تصوروا قصة نجاح تعاملنا مع هذا المريض. فلما صورناه بصراحة عيني دمعت. كان بيقول أنا ما كنت أقدر أمشي، بسبب دكتور محمد تحسنت حياتي كثير. نزل عنده السكري فصار يقدر يمشي بطريقة من غير ألم، لأنه كان بيعاني من تنميل في الأطراف بسبب ارتفاع السكري. فالقصة هذه من القصة اللي ما أقدر أنساها، لما كان بيقول لنا أنا تحسنت أنا تحسنت أنا تحسنت، هذا 3 مرات.
احنا عندنا شراكة مع جوزلين سنتر اللي هو تابع لهارفارد ميديكال سكول ومع وزارة الصحة في برنامج كبير منظم علمي اسمه يا أنا يا السكري، موجود في صيدلياتنا في المملكة. بندي دورات على مدى 4 أشهر لمرضى السكر، نساعدهم يسيطروا على السكر التراكمي وينزلوا مستوى السكر التراكمي. كل 1% تخفيض في السكر التراكمي يتبع 20 إلى 30% تخفيض في فرص المضاعفات اللي تجي من السكري، منها بتر الأطراف والفشل الكلوي والأمراض القلب.
أنا كنت سعيدة جداً إنه أعرف إنه في 22,000 كيلو خسارة وزن صارت بسبب برنامج وازن. فإحنا وفرنا هذه الخدمة اليوم مجاناً في صيدليات النهدي. اشترك معنا أكثر من 35 ألف شخص في سنة واحدة. وهذا دليل على أنه في احتياج كبير لبرامج تشبه هذه البرامج في النهدي.
في السعودية طفل يولد كل دقيقة. الطفل هذا له أم وأب. الأم والأب هذا لو علمناهم وساعدناهم كيف يشتغلوا على طفلهم هذا من قبل ما يتولد ألين ما يصير عمره 6-7 سنوات، حيطلع أجيال قادمة تتمتع بالصحة الفكرية والنفسية والبدنية. إحنا اليوم بنساعد الأم إنها تستمتع مع الأطفال.
Now, you can give us a big hand of applause. And again, I know you can feel the pride because you are part of this success story. These are the major 6 keys in our new transformation. That happened because we have a leadership that believes in our values, someone who walk the talk, someone who embody the values that we are talking about, someone who attend his office at 7 a.m. and leaves at 8 p.m. Please welcome our CEO, Engineer Yasser Joharji.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all for this annual event where we will listen, sit with our partners and renew our energy by connecting to all of you. And I'm really grateful for Professor Michaela for sharing with us this brilliant research, which is confirming a lot of what we are doing, but more importantly, it's helping us to know where we need to do more and do better. I would like to start by emphasizing on the fact that transformation is inevitable. Change is the name of the game every day. And it's been for a while now. This is not new, and it will continue. But in my view, in my humble view, transformation has to happen for a good reason, with a purpose. Otherwise, there is no passion, there is no sustainability for that transformation. And here in Nahdi, we do transformation for a very simple reason. We do it to add beats to our guests' life every day. You ask the CEO, or you ask anyone of the big team who supports serving our guests every day, the 10,000 people who wake up much earlier than I do, and they attend to their pharmacies starting at 6 a.m. with a big smile and finishing with a big smile to the last guest who they serve every day. What is equally important to the purpose is the company you have with you in that journey of transformation. And I have personally been blessed by a brilliant team, and from this position I would like to thank every single Nahdawi and Nahdawiya, the 10,000 people, whether they're standing on their feet in Najran or serving a guest in Ad-Dair or in At-Tawal or in Jeddah or Mecca or Hafr al-Batin or they are moving boxes in the supply chain, or they are doing anything else to contribute to the success of this organization to add beats to people's life. So I would like to start by thanking my people, the 10,000 people who are selling your products everywhere in Saudi Arabia, in more than 150 cities and towns in Saudi Arabia, and more than 1,150 stores. So join me to congratulate and thank for those people who, in my view, have done a brilliant job navigating through the storm and the tough time that we have all been through over the last few years. But even more important is to thank the partners, the people who are in this room, the people who we enjoy long-term relations with them, who have been with us since day one when we started 30 years ago. And I know for a fact that our relations are a mix of sweet and sour. It will never only be sweets, but I promise you it will not only be sour. In life, there are three types of people. Those who make things happen, and those to whom things happen, and those who watch things happen. And today, from here, I would really, from the deepest point of my heart, would like to invite each one of you to take off for a while that commercial hat that we wear all the time and join us in making things happen. Because in Al-Nahdi, we're very clear. Life is boring without making a difference, without adding beats to people's life, without making that old man with A1C level close to 12, who cannot walk anymore, to allow him and help him to walk again. To help that mother who just got a new baby, to know how to feed that new baby and raise him healthy psychologically and physically. To help the pilgrims who visit our country every year to see the bright side of our country by serving them and helping them with medical advices. To add beats to the society everywhere, making people lose 23,000 kilos, 23 tons of fats that could have made their life miserable in years to come. We helped them to lose that. We gave 62,000 chronic disease patients coaching sessions to help them improve their quality of life. We helped 6,000 patients in rural areas in partnership with the Zamzam NGO to provide them with free medications and give them access to medications that they would have never been able to get. From here, I will confirm to you one thing. I've been through so many years in my professional life. And every year, we have a different battle. Whether you are in Pfizer, or in Unilever, or in Procter, or in L'Oreal, JSK, all the brilliant companies that we learn from. Every year, you will get the famous call from the center asking for a little bit more. But guess what? I stand in front of you today, and I barely remember any of those years, any of the numbers that we have achieved, whether in top line or bottom line. What I only remember are those moments when we were able to make a difference in people's life. Those are great companies who help people around the world by making a difference. We learned from those companies. We have seen what they do in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, in many places in the world. So from here, I'm asking this question, and trust me, I haven't planned this. I'm not trying to be politically correct, but I'm asking each one of you, and I'm asking myself as well, how I can help. How can you help? How can we synergize together? How can we bring our collective energy and force and know-how? How can we build? How can we put smiles on people's face and add beats to people's life? You might feel that I'm a little bit romantic tonight, but trust me, I'm not. Because what I learned throughout my career is you can do good. You do well by doing good. By helping people, they will come time and again. By adding beats to their life, they will become loyal to you. By giving them your best shot, they will always recommend you to a friend. So whether you are sitting in a pharmaceutical company who can help a Nahdi to help people reduce their A1C, improve their medical or medication adherence, or in any other manner, or you are sitting in a company that provides us with baby solutions, or FMCG, I'm encouraging you and opening the door wide open. And trust me, if you come here next year, you will hear me saying the same thing. Because for me, this is business. This is the heart of the business. I know that each one of you is sitting here with the top of mind, the transactional discussions, the commercial discussions. But you know what? You all come from great companies. And I know each one of your companies. I read a great deal of their corporate social responsibilities around the world. Why aren't we bringing it here? Why are we not unleashing the power of those multinationals to serve the Saudi community? I hope that in the coming few months, until the end of this year, with the new re-energized management that we have within our business, you join us in the journey of adding beats to people's life. And I just want to tell you a very small story. And unfortunately, in a Nahdi, we don't survive on big stories. We survive on small beats. Few days ago, I get a message from my team about a young chap who's 23 years old, who was so obese. And with the help of our team, the healthcare coaches who are spread around the kingdom, this guy was in tears saying that it is the first time in my entire life I see a single-digit weight for myself, double-digit weight for myself. So just imagine that young guy and the impact coming down from 3 digits to 2 digits will have on his life, on his future, on his happiness. I really want to use this opportunity to invite you all to come and join our journey. And whenever you come, I promise you, if you face any obstacles due to our shortcomings or due to our bureaucracy maybe, or for any reason, just let me know. And I promise you that I will personally hold your hand and make things happen for you. And this is a commitment I have in front of all of you. But I will not accept anything less than the best you and your companies have around the world. With this plea that I am having to you, I would like to thank you very much and wish you a nice evening.
Yesterday, when we were waiting to meet Engineer Joharji, and Miss Michaela, Professor Michaela, was waiting, Ibrahim said that he's coming around 5. I said it's the end of the working hours. Maybe he's exhausted and he don't want to talk about the event. He said, believe me, he's more energized than any one of us. And he was in a side tour with an international guest. And he asked to meet her before the speech to know what's happening in every aspect in this event, because we really care. Please give a big hand of applause again for our CEO. Thank you. When Steve Jobs was dying, they asked him, what was the most valuable moment that you lived? He said, none of the awards that we win do matter now. The real value happened when we see the smiles of the people and the people we care about. Oprah Winfrey, when she started the schools in South Africa, she said, I thought that I'm giving these girls an opportunity, but what I gain in return, it's much more than I gave them. Tony Robbins said, happiness is gaining and giving. And because we are a commercial identities and companies, in our commercial policy, we are gaining. And to know more about it, our new vice presidents coming from a multinational company's background with the best retailers in the world have a new things to tell us about our new journey. Please welcome Mr. Karim Dimitri.
Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for making it to this very special event. A few months ago, I was invited to join this wonderful team in Nahdi. And I was told, it's a great company. So I came and I found out that it was even greater than what I believed it was. From a very modest start, with 2 stores more than 20 years ago, this company went through several transformations. Transformation of expansion, transformation of commercial strategy, transformation of increasing the assortment and the category that we offer to our guests, transformation in the services and the quality of our pharmacists and the excellent work they do adding beats to our guests every day, transformation every step of the way. Nahdi has a great team, and this transformation was possible because of this great team. So thank you very much for all of them who are present here or not present today with us. But also, spending few months here, I came to realize that all of this would not have been achieved without you. So a very big thank you and a very big round of applause for all of you for your contribution in working together with Nahdi. Like you, or like most of you, I come from a multinational manufacturing background, and I know exactly how it feels dealing with retailers. And with large retailers, I spent quite a lot of my career and my life as a key account manager, trying to find common grounds representing my company's interests and the retailer's interests. And this was only successfully done only when we tried to find the common grounds. So transformation and common grounds are very important. And what worked in the past will not work in the future. Things are changing around us, like Michaela said, extremely quickly. I will tell you a very short story, a personal one about my daughter. She graduated recently, a few months ago, and moved to Dubai, working, living alone. After 6 months, she didn't connect to a cable TV. She didn't buy a car. She uses Uber. She watches things that she streams on her laptop. She shops from a supermarket online. She books her travel tickets online. She buys from a pharmacy online. She doesn't visit stores except those ones who are adding experiences and differentiation for something she believes in. She is totally the opposite of what most of us did in our youth and how we lived. The days of a big factory with one very big TV and one big advertisement and one big box of retail where you can sell the consumer everything he wants are gone. Transformation is really needed today. We cannot do it anymore in the same way that we used to do it in the past. And like we did it in the past, we need to work together to face the challenges. I'm not going to bore you with commercial strategy. I'm going to share with you some opportunities that I had identified and learned with the few months spent with Nahdi and with some of you. Let's start with health. One of the major categories or segments in life that is being affected by the digitalization, transformation, a lot of things are happening at a health level. Government strategies are changing. They want to reduce costs. Insurance penetration in Saudi and in the region is increasing. They also want to reduce cost. Generic medication penetration is increasing. Those can be all perceived as challenges. However, at Nahdi, we perceive them as opportunities. We see a very clear opportunity for us, retailers, manufacturers, and payers, whether public or private, to join hands in providing the best services at a lower cost, in driving drug adherence, and even in driving prevention and improvement of lifestyle. So there is a great opportunity, and I hope that we can collaborate on those initiatives in the future. Mom and baby. Nahdi is a wonderful platform attracting a lot of new mothers and their babies. And there is so much that we can do together to add beats to their life, to add experience, to add know-how, to provide them with adjacencies and categories that are going to improve their journey through this life. Beauty, another very successful category, thanks to you and all the efforts that were done in Nahdi. But things are changing in Nahdi. People are looking at differentiated products. People are looking at experiences. People are looking at omni-channel. Today, everyone is connected in Saudi Arabia and in the region. Everybody is aware of local brands, of new trends. Sometimes I realize that we take too long to bring those brands and those trends to Saudi, that we are too overconfident with our pricing, where all our consumers are aware of the global prices. There is a lot of initiative that we can drive together in this front, and I hope that we can work on this. Omnichannel and e-commerce, we have a lot of ambitions, and I just wish that soon, together, we can elevate the discussion into a more strategic level. Instead of debating petty things on a day-to-day basis, we need to elevate this discussion and drive very strategic projects that will benefit us on the long term. Nahdi is not perfect. We are undergoing, with the help of the commercial team, a major restructuring of the commercial organization. And the only objective of this organization is to be able to serve you, our partners, better, to be able to react with you with a faster speed to market, and to be able to respond to the increasing guests' demand. So I hope that this change can also come from your side and will help us in partnering. So one more time, thank you very much for all that was done in the past. The future is different, and one more time, we need to partner together successfully in order to face those challenges. And we are full of hope in Nahdi, and I hope that we can work strategically on key projects together in the future. Thank you very much.
With this mindset, yes, we are leading, and we will keep leading the market. With the mindset of a people, the ambitious people that sees opportunities in challenges and problems, we will keep leading with your support. Let me give you another personal experience. My father, when he used to go to the Al-Nahdi pharmacies, he spent a lot of time, to the point that my mom said, if you're going to Al-Nahdi, go and get back and then take me with you to the supermarket. Why? He's talking with the pharmacist. The pharmacists are building rapport, relationships, friendship. They know them by name. In Gallup research, the most successful companies in matter of revenues comes from loyal and satisfied customers. And these loyal and satisfied customers become loyal and satisfied because of a loyal and satisfied employees. And these employees are satisfied because of the great management team. Please give a big hand of applause again for our commercial vice president, Mr. Karim. Thank you. Getting back to the recognition. Today, in line with our pillar, winning with each other, with our partners, we have criteria to choose our winner. The first one is the joint business planning. We're not only planning the success alone, we need your support. The service level fill rate, the sales growth, supply chain standards, and guest satisfaction. And in these categories, in RX division, before announcing the winners, we would like to ask our CEO, Mr. Joharji, our commercial vice president, Mr. Karim, to give the awards to the winners. And our first winner in the RX division is AstraZeneca. In OTC division, JSK Consumers. In the nutraceutical division, the company that allow the young leadership to evolve. Jamjum Nutra. As the new generation leader said, he shared the value of having the impact of changing people's life. Thank you. In the home and healthcare division, Batarji's Essentia. In the mama and baby division, Ismail Abu Dawood. These hugs reflect the relationship between us and Al-Nahdi and our partner. A big hand of applause for Ismail Abu Dawood. For the premium beauty division, the Arabian Trading Supplies, Vechi. شايفة؟ In the beauty division, the leaders in many industries, Al-Naghi Nivea. An everyday essential division, Benzager Unilever. The other category is the special awards. The special awards that we appreciate our partner who took the next level of cooperation. The first recognition award about Omni-Channel Award, the pioneer in establishing of a breakthrough innovation in baby nutrition, Tamer Nestle. The best local manufacturer, the leading local/international company, the leaders in the dairy products, Al-Mara'i.
I would like to mention one very important thing regarding this partnership. You know that we have a private label program that is very dear to our heart. And you also know that we are heavily encouraging local content and local manufacturing. And I think that this is where we find common grounds with Al-Mara'i. And this is a great partnership that is working very well for the private label as well to Al-Mara'i brand. So thank you very much. And I encourage everybody to think about similar opportunities with our company. Thank you.
The Innovation Award goes to the innovators, the company that invent Saxenda injection for diabetes. Novodesk. And a special recognition again for Novo Nordisk for their support in our sustainability program fighting diabetes. There are some companies who's assigning account managers with a full support and authority to help each of us to succeed. The full, effective, efficient, dedicated for Nahdi, managing different complexes, business scope, problem solving, and helping a Nahdi in all of the sectors regarding his company. The Best Key Account Manager Awards goes to Sanofi. The Best Key Account Manager Award for Front Shop goes to innovators and FMCG, the leader in the world, L'Oréal. With the international providers and industry coming to the country, it's a tough market for the SMEs. But don't worry, because the Nahdi transformed these people from online businesses to our mega branches. And the best SMEs award in pharma goes to the company that enjoy the fragility of Arab Islamic civilization. They introduce their product that lead the market, Tahara. As Saudi Arabia is one of the most consumer in the world in the beauty business, the Front Shop Award for SMEs goes to NSK Cosmetics. And again, to show that we are walking the talk, we are embodying our values. Sure.
One very important thing, every successful economy has a thriving SME and a thriving entrepreneurs. And this is why in Nahdi we decided this year to launch the program to support selected SMEs to use Nahdi and facilitate for them to use Nahdi as the platform to launch their brands and succeed in the market. More details will be shared about this later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, to show and embody our values, this event happened with the great support of a local SMEs. Our success partner as a speaker, Professor Michaela Merk. Our success partner in working on design and branding, influence, branding, and digital. the great team behind the great event, the event organizers, Epic Event Management. And finally, the great international agency in talent management and advertising, Troy International Agency, represented by the CEO, Talal Basunbul. Allah. Thank you. Finally, nothing of this could happen without your support. Thank you. We are really proud to be with you, to transform with you. We are transforming together. Thanks a lot. Give a big hand of applause to our management again, our CEO, Mr. Johar G. Our commercial vice president, Mr. Kareem. Thank you.
Last words, I would really like to thank all of you for coming and joining us, and congratulations for all those award winners. And I really look forward to your full support. We have been through the toughest time in our economy, and we're looking forward for bright years to come, inshallah. We're very much ready with your support, inshallah, iradat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you very much, and we'll see you year after year in great health and great success. And now you can join us for dinner, please. Thank you.